We gonna jive in time. Jiving through America, across Europe, having good times everywhere we go now. Hard rock and news, it might give you the blues. Jive in time, so come and jive with me. Shit, that was so good. Sometimes you just go back to an old damn standard, you know, that is a hard rockin' tune. I don't care what anybody says, but for it to be built into that keyboard like that, it just prompts me to every once in a while just pop that sucker out, just bang that sucker out. And I bet you people instantly turn the podcast on and go, oh my God, I'm not gonna listen to this. It really can be a test of your patience, I'm hearing from people. But what's going on, everybody? And welcome back to another episode of Jive Talkin with Shane Diablo, where we talk about news, bits, and stuffs and stories. If you're following me on TikTok, I just, I shoot out these little news nuggets. I like to call them heavy metal news nuggets. And they're about 1 minute long. Well, they're never over a minute long. So join me there on the TikTok Talk, or you can get the extended version, which the majority of these stories here we're talking about today never TikTok, okay, guys? So don't think I'm doubling up all the time, all right? But I welcome you, and let's get into it. There's Steve Vai and there's Ozzy Osbourne, and Steve Vai has to clarify his Osbourne comments and apologizes for the confusion. I wanted to know what this was about. I thought I saw something about an article. Steve Vai had mentioned something about he wrote a whole album with Ozzy. And so I think he's apologizing for the confusion on this. Nice guy. Name one person in your life you've ever heard say, I apologize for the confusion. That's a nice man that does that. A nice man admits when he's wrong and apologizes for the confusion. And that's what I love about him, frankly. Steve Vai has clarified his recent comments that he had enough material recorded with Ozzy Osbourne for a full album. In an interview with Eon Music, the guitarist said that he was sitting on a whole Ozzy record, adding that he couldn't do anything with the material because he didn't have any rights to it. So old Sharon Osbourne, she got over there and she says, I want you to write a rock and roll record for Ozzy Osbourne, and I also want this guy over here and Post Malone to write a rock and roll record for Ozzy, and I want Zakk Wylde to get his riff machine started over there. So then they could just have a smorgasbord or whatever they wanted. Oh, we like your stuff, we'll go with you. Sounds a little reminiscent to old Jakey Lee and the issues he ran into. He still owed some copyrights for Ultimate Sin and the stuff that he wrote on Bark at the Moon. That's besides the point. But now, in a social media post, Vai revealed that while there was enough music written for a whole album, the songs were never completed and would require re-recording before being released to the public. Steve wrote, in a recent interview, I spoke a bit carelessly. A strong man uses words like carelessly about sitting on an entire Ozzy album, and then the clickbait headlines went viral. To clarify, Ozzy and I got together back around 96 and spent some time trying to come up with some potential songs for an album that he already had half recorded. That record later came out as Osmosis. We demoed a handful of tracks, and then there was a bunch of tracks I built for him to check out. He ended up picking one song to use on his album, and that's My Little Man. I've never heard that song in my life. It was re-recorded with his band, and it came out great. Only one other demoed track from those sessions had an Ozzy scratch vocal on it, and I handed in all the master demo tapes to the label and kept safety tapes of tracks I personally built. All in all, there is enough music for a whole record, but those songs would require re-recording. The demos are bumpy roadmaps, but not the goal. So there you have that, okay? I don't think we need to dive much deeper into that. I was just concerned if he was making, I knew in my heart of hearts that he wasn't going to say snide things because he's a nice... The worst that this guy, Steve Vai, has ever done is played the devil in that Ralph Macchio vehicle called Crossroads. He played the devil's demon. And that's about as far dark as this guy goes. You know what I'm saying? He's a real sweetie patoot. But since we're talking about devils and gods, let's get into Stryper here. Because Michael Sweet, Stryper, was really scary to the church in the beginning. I wanted to hear what they were talking about. Look at this guy right here. He says, "Olé!" Are those scorpions on his shirt? I like that. They got him in the uniform. You have to wear the uniform until we feel like you're properly striperized. Michael Sweet, Stryper, was really scared to the church in the beginning. I need to hear this. I need to know what Michael Sweet says about this. In a new interview with Australia's Heavy, Michael Sweet of Christian Rock and Stryper spoke about the fact that his band is celebrating its 40th anniversary this year. He said, as transcribed by the Blumenheinz from the USA, it's really crazy, and especially considering the fact that we don't look a day over 40 years old. He laughs. No, we're getting up there in the age, man. There's no doubt about it. But I think music keeps us all young, and we try to take care of ourselves. We don't do anything in overabundance. We enjoy life. You know, overabundance. I swear I thought I heard him talking about drinking bourbon. And it might have been Eddie Junk in the Trunks that he was talking to him, and he says, you know, we do the partying and stuff after the show. You know, a glass of bourbon. And I went, oh, that's interesting. We enjoy life, but we also want to take care of ourselves so we're around for a little while longer and we can get more done. Asked about the musical climate at the start of Stryper's career, Sweet said, it was a different world, the mainstream. But then you add to it the Christian side of things. We were all really scary to the church. They're out there in their three-piece suits and their slick back hair, and here comes Stryper in yellow and black, painted on spandex and makeup and lipstick, and they were like, what in the hell is this? I don't think they knew how to take it, and I think it's because of that we weren't always accepted. We had opposition from both sides, so we never really had a club to fit into, and we still don't really. We march to our own beat and play to our own drum. And that drum is that goddamn brother of mine, Robert Sweets. And all that stuff. We're a very unusual band for sure. Asked if he thinks the members of Stryper have become more accepted now for who they are, Michael said, I don't know if it necessarily we've been accepted for who we are any more than where we were back then. But I do think that we're respected a little bit more for who we are, because I think people realize we've been around for 40 freaking motherfucking years, and we're still here doing it. A lot of bands aren't, and we've stayed true to our convictions and stuck to our guns, and I think people respect that. I do. I respect it. Go with it. Go. You be you, man. YOLO, live your best life. Hashtag do it. Not just do it, that's trademarked, sorry. We haven't wavered from that, and we're still here doing it. Making music, turning in records, turning out records, touring. It's not about just relying on the classics. We rely on the new music just as much as the classics. If you listen to our set, it's comprised of new music every bit as much as classic music. And not a lot of bands can say that either. And he might have a point there. Just this last bit. Stryper is the first overtly Christian metal band to go mainstream. The group's name comes from Isaiah 53:5, which states, but he was wounded for our transgression. He was bruised for our iniquities. I just learned that word. And chastisements, and I just learned that word too. Iniquities and the chastisement of all peace was upon him, and with his stripes we are healed. That's the only part I ever remembered is with these stripes ye are healed. Do we got to go through that whole rigmarole? That's like 4 sentences worth of talking when you can just say, with these stripes we are healed. Anywho, let's get into this. I wanted to read a bit of this story because Great White's Mark Kendell rules out a reunion with Jack Russell. And in quotes it says, have you seen videos of his recent live performances? And we have, because we've looked into a bit of that. We've looked at the Great White version and the Jack Russell Great White versions on this channel. But let's check this out. In a brand new interview with, there's our pal Jeff Gudowski of MisplacedStraws.com. He's getting the business over there, MisplacedStraws.com. Great White guitarist Mark Kendell was asked if he ever sees a chance of the band playing with the original singer Jack Russell again, even if it's just for one show. He responded, I really can't envision that happening because of health reasons and stuff like that. And I haven't even talked to Jack or anything for like 13 years. Is this fella here, Mark Kendell, is he the dude that used to wear the sunglasses and have the big, beautiful mane of cobalt white? What's the word for that? Not cobalt white, but anyways, he had the white hair. Is this that guy? Kendell then asked Gudowski. Kendall's asking questions now. Have you seen him? Have you seen his show? Have you seen videos or anything? Apparently referencing YouTube clips of Russell's recent live performances. When Jeff responded in the affirmative, Mark said, oh, yeah, okay, well, I'll just leave it there then. Is that what Kendell does? He say when he gets online, he types in Jack Russell. Jack Russell live performance. Then his kids come in. Dad, what are you doing? Are you watching more Jack Russell stuff? Jesus. Well, look at him. He's nowhere near as good as us. Last December, Russell, who currently fronts a band called Jack Russell's Great White, was asked T-Stone of the radio show Sonic Boom on Real Rock 100.3 The Fox in Rapid City, South Dakota, how he feels about the fact that there are now effectively two versions of Great White touring and making new music. He responded, it's weird, man. I mean, it doesn't bother me, except when Mark goes out there and starts talking shit about me. Every time he gives an interview, he goes out there and starts talking some kind of shit about me. It's like, dude, it's been 12 years. Get over it. How many years ago did he see? He hasn't seen 13 years. I haven't seen Jack in like 13 years. And then old Russell's down here going, yeah, in 12 of those, you've been talking shit on me, bro. Get over it. Get over it. It is too bad, Russell added. We were best friends. We were brothers for years. And now it's like the guy won't even pick up the phone and ask and speak to me. It's horrible. Makes you feel really bad. And every time I pick up a paper or I see, he doesn't pick up no paper, your cell phone. Something on the internet where Mark's giving an interview and he's always talking shit about me. It's like, dude, talk about yourself. Talk about how great your album is or how great your band is. Leave me the fuck alone. I'm not bagging on you. I mean, I think I'm going with Jack Russell's side. Because he really does. Asked by T-Stone, is that his name, T-Stone? 100.3 jammer.com. Why he thinks it, let me just start this over. Asked by T-Stone why he thinks it's the way for Kendell, Russell replied, that doesn't make any damn sense to me, but here's Russell. He's replying now. I don't know. Maybe he's just pissed off that I'm still doing it. I mean, the first article they did after I left the band was, oh, he'll never pull it off. And it's been, 12 years now? The way I look at it is you do what you do. he continued. Have a good time, be happy, and you're able to do this. Be happy that you're lucky enough to be able to do this, especially when there's two versions of the band. Okay, I'm Jack Russell. I'm on Team Jack Russell. I'm going with this guy and not, see, he still wears the sunglasses. He just cut the hair off, right? Let's get into something else here. Billy Biohazard. He's going to tell us how the music industry could have been saved. And we're going to gloss over this really quick because we got a couple more items. Billy Biohazard. I've always called him Billy Biohazard. Biohazards. Billy, and I don't know how to say that, Graziati. How music industry could have been saved. And I think he's going to say they should have got on board with the streaming. In a new interview with Ghost Cold, Biohazard's Billy Graziati discussed the perception that Metallica's greed was at the core of the band's decision to launch legal action against Napster in 2000, claiming that the pioneering music file sharing service was illegally allowing users to download Metallica tracks without paying royalty to the group. Kind of like you used to do, Lars. Remember when you did something called tape trading? And what you would do is record a bunch of bands and songs and stuff on cassette tapes illegally, and then you would send them off, and then those would be, they would send you something, but that's how grindcore got around, baby. I'm just saying, pot calling kettle black, because you did the same thing a little bit, kind of. Speaking about Biohazard's own approach to making and releasing music, Billy said, it was never about the money. And it still isn't about the money. But I remember when that whole shit between Metallica and Napster happened, and I saw somebody wearing pretty recently a shirt that said Lars Ulrich was right. When the shit went down with Napster, people got on him because people were saying, you're selling tons of records, it's going to help you out it's going to help out the smaller bands and the up and coming bands, which had a validity to it. I 100% agree with that because I was in a culty kind of horror punk band, and we did a lot of free music compupacks when we first started out, and we shot them everywhere, and we put them on every website and said, you can download this free. And so I agree with that validities. I remember spending 4 hours downloading a whole album onto my computer, and then another 4 hours trying to figure out how to put it on this little player, he continued. I went down into a meeting in LA with my manager, Russell Simmons, Def Jam co-founder, Lyor Cohen, current Google and YouTube global head of music, and Scott Coing, and I spent maybe 8 hours trying to make this transfer in the meeting. After we talked about Biohazard, I asked him, I said, Lyor, are you a Lyor? What about this thing? And he said, you mean those little players and the digital music? I'm like, yeah. He said, nobody cares about that. They want to hold something. They want to hold their music. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? I get it. The industry said the same thing about CDs, and they were wrong. Ooh, he's putting the clap down on him, huh? The hell's this? Shut that. Some malware thing. We'll read this really quick here. With the MP3s, my point was, this was like 93 maybe. I paid for my CD. I put the fucking Biohazard record on my computer for from this program, and then that program helped me put this on a player, Billy added. So I bought one CD, and now I have 2 other copies. So there's 3 copies for one. I said, that doesn't work out for the music industry. And his rebuttal was, yeah, but people still want to hold their music. And it's true. Vinyl's making a comeback. But if the music industry would have looked around the corner and saw the potential of damage that MP3s could have had, they could have brought out Napster and just paid them a fucking $1 billion and saved the music industry. Now you get a bunch of young bands who, I love finding these new bands, but they're trying to come up in an industry that's selling 90% less than it was 15 years ago. He's not wrong about any of that. We'll let it sit there, and I want to ask you a quick question before we get into comments. How would you like to see Alisa White-Gulz as a mermaid in a fishnet? Well, We got it right here. There she is. Put yourself in their place. Go vegan. I love pita bread. Have you ever had that? It says Alisa White-Gulz for pita. And she is an amazingly beautiful woman, right? But, you know, she's a mermaid in this. So I just wanted to see that. We know that it's going to be, come on, don't be eating meat and stuff. Go vegan. Her boyfriend, who you might know, is Doyle von Frankenberg from Misfits. And he also is a vegan. Just wanted to see that quick image. And one more surprise goodie. Remember that Guns N' Roses car? See, you see this race car here? It's going the complete wrong way. 1 week ago, I hear, hey, Guns N' Roses have a race car that's going to be in the Daytona 500. And then I see this. Guns N' Roses sponsored car involved in multi-car wreck at Daytona. And we can watch that. So this is going to say hippity-hoppity and boppity-boppity, Daytona 500 and all this. And then we're going to get down to the video right here. There we go.
The future.
No.
Where we need to watch
there
is
we
this
go.
45 car and the 4 car on the outside.
Stuck it in the middle and stuck it in the middle. And
Kevin closes in contact with the 45. That's what also catches the 12.
oh boy. Oh boy. There's the.
It's on.
Oh. Yep.
It didn't take much. It looked like Tyler was having trouble holding on to it, and as soon as that Ford got back to his bumper in the corner, it just...
Is that the Guns N' Roses one?
Let's listen to Harvick here.
Here's the Guns N'.
In the rocks part of the corner there. I don't know if I actually even...
Okay, it's a monster car.
Came out from underneath it.
Man,
That's the Guns N' Roses right there. Boom.
Eric Jones.
Bang.
Chase Elliott,
There it is.
Daniel
Boom.
Suarez are all collateral damage. Suarez.
He says, I'm going to go ahead and hit it again for another good smackins. Yep.
9.
All right, so there you have that, my fine friends. Let's get into your comments, which is always delightful and titillating. Let's do it now with Ryan Wade. He is up top. According to your impression, Lars is no longer Danish, but 90% Carl from Caddyshack. I don't know why I always kind of go into the Carl, you know. And the other half is Spicoli from Fast Times, a nod to Yogi Berra's Yogi-isms. Always hilarious. Rest in Peace was the first Megadeth album I heard all the way through, so it still reigns supreme to me. I can get that. Who gives a crap about the frontman contest? We all like singers-performers for many different reasons. Some of the most successful artists in history could be considered boring. Performers insert examples here. Insane Clown Posse put on a very entertaining show. Is that better than a Dio show? Oh, that is a dang mic dropper right there. You should have walked away. That is a hell of a comment. Still Ryan here. Heavy metal horns have been majorly bastardized over the years. Speaking of bastardization and Mutt Lang, try to listen to Def Leppard's Pyromania and Hysteria alongside the Cars' Heartbeat City without feeling some type of way. The opening vocals on Hello Again sound just like Def Leppard. Oh, hello. Hello again. Bow. Bow, bow. Boy, that almost puts me. See, I'm feeling a sort of way, a type of way. Or do both bands sound like Mutt? Very good point. Might even be the same fake snare drum on Pyromania as Heartbeat City. Oh. Did someone mention Jason Bateman? Well, his sister Justine was one of the stars of Family Ties, yes, which some would say jumped the shark when baby Andrew was born. Yeah. And magically skipped babyhood and toddler, both real words. Yeah, I remember this kid now slightly. And went right to being a school-age child. That's a damn good point. All right, man, I got to give you I'm giving you a heart and a thumb for that because you really laid some, you could have mic dropped. You could have dropped the mic and walked off, said, I'll see you guys in a month. In the comments. Oscar, I don't think Jeff Young is being a dick. Dave Cumstain. Oh, my. Oscar. needs to stop putting out records with rappers. Put Ellefson's track back on the record and stop wearing white Nike shoes while shirtless and shooting videos. When does that happen? Dave Mustaine takes his shirt off? I don't know. Cumstain is a dick. I think Oscar's not a fan of him. My favorite album is So Far, So Good, So What. I agree. I mean, I always go to it. I always go to that record when I'm just like, you know what? I'm Megadething. I'll put it on a playlist or something and get a taste, but it's always either that first record or So Far, So Good, So What. I don't know why. Miss Althea coming in here. The dumbstruck fool says, can't really weigh in on a matter of Metallica Saint Anger as I have never heard that album. Thank your ears. Your ears, thank you. I think the only song I know from it is Some Kind of Monster, which I don't think is all too bad. It's that, keep on searching. Is that Some Kind of Monster? Keep on searching. I did see the movie of the same title, but it's been a while and I don't remember too much about it right now, except for maybe that Let's Hug It Out segment with Mustaine. Yeah. Tears. The thing that I remember most about that documentary is that irritating therapist that starts to interject his own lyrics. He's handing James Hetfield lyric ideas and stuff. It's like, and he was planning to go on tour. Well, I think we'll get through this tour. They says, no, you got to watch that documentary if you haven't seen Some Kind of Monster. Still Miss Out There. Highlight of the Jeff Young story was the quote, I'm not being a dick, it's just a fact. That is simple mantra of life, darling. How many times have I said that very same thing? Well, almost the same thing. Substitute bitch for dick, because I am a proper lady. I agree with most of D. Snyder's comments, but not all. What makes a great frontman? ? Debate is really one that can split hairs. Probably literally in most cases. It's one of those things that make a great agree to disagree friendly part conversation. Did I miss something? Debate is really one that can split hairs. Probably literally in most cases. It's one of those things that can make a great agree to disagree friendly party conversation or start a drink in your face bar fight. Oh, okay, I see what she's saying. Yes, I agree. Or both, depending on where you live. Yeah, depends on how much whiskey. 1 minute you go, I love this guy, man. I'm serious. I love you. A minute later, you're beating the hell out of each other. Still Miss Althea, that photo of Bret Michaels looked like it came from a heavy metal mugshot. Yeah. Coffee table book. Is there a thing? To that end, anything he said about Def Lepp was nothing but a bunch of blah, blah, blah to me. I also have zero recollection of Ricky Rocket, the black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, challenging Joe Elliott to a fist fight. Well, I'll say this. If it was a fist fight, it's up in the air. If Joe Elliott says, hey, mate, none of that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu bullshit you do. We doing it with all fists. Then it's a fair fight. If you can throw in a splash of that jiu-jitsu, I think Joe Elliott would be turned into a pretzel. In keeping in line with my previous comment, just throw a drink in his face. Still Miss Out there, Fozzy guitarist Rich Ward was in the band Stuck Mojo. I knew it had mofo in it. Stuck Mojo. The heavy metal parking lot was filmed in my proverbial backyard in Landover, Maryland, on the hollowed ground of the former Capitol Center, later the U.S. Air Arena. It was demolished in 2002, and I have a ton of cherished concert memories there. However, I was not at the Judas Priest Dokken show, which was the scene for heavy metal parking lot. But I do remember why, especially since I was still mad crushing on KK Downing then. And yes, I do remember the Chewbacca boots, unfortunately. Oh, man, those boots. I don't know what it was. I think it was Kiss. I was just like, boots. I want a demon boots and space boots and furry boots. But I like Star Wars, too. So I was like, And come on, I was just this little turd of a child, you know. So I didn't look like the cool 20 plus guy in the rock gear with the boots. I would have looked like a little frumpy dump, you know. I would have looked like anyways. Still Miss Althea, I do not watch Ozark, but many of my co-workers do, and I do know that Jason Bateman directed a few episodes. He stars in it too. You were correct about George Clooney on The Facts of Life. I think he was on there for the last couple of seasons, which were a complete clusterfuck, in my opinion. Yeah, they didn't know what to do with it. Does anyone remember the jump, Mrs. Garrett jump? And I'll leave it right there. But Mrs. Garrett jumped shows. And I'm going to wait until next time to see if anyone, I mean, I know you guys are going to get in Googling right now, but I bet you someone is typing it right now, what show she was on and then went over to. It was a show that became a vehicle for her. They says, man, she's got spunk. She needs to be on another show. There you go. Very good. Hearts and thumbs all around. Did I hit Oscar with it? Yeah. Oscar? I mean, the cum stain thing was a little over the top, you know, but I'm going to give you that. I'm going to give it to you. Oscar again. Maybe he's going to apologize to Dave Mustaine. Let's find out. Some will disagree, but Sad Eyes should just have some beer during part of the day and self-moderate. Because he's sad because he can't drink and he really wants to drink. I've never understood the really going for it. I've done it. I've been there. But when you're just having such a good time, you're like, I don't want this to end. Let's drink 3 cases of beer or whatever. But Saxon have a song say, a little bit of what you fancy always does you good. And too much of a good thing is a bad thing, right? Oscar says, come on, James, take one for the team. Let's get Metallica to put out another 2 to 3 kick-ass albums, model them after Kill 'Em All, Ride the Lightning, similar and or fresh themes, and most important, same tone. He's got something there. I do love the tone of those records. Replace the goofball and get Jason back in the band. Newstead, really? You're saying Robert Trujillo should go? Do you double dog dare to call him a goofball to his face? He's a big boy. Newstead will put his spin on Burton's Rickenbacker bass line through downstroke picking. I saw Metallica in Muskegon, Michigan, and Jason did a phenomenal job with his version of Orion. I'm sure Cliff would give his blessing for the upcoming project. And one more suggestion, Sad Eyes. And one more suggestion, Sad Eyes. Let fans vote if they want Lars out and another percussionist in. This guy's throwing all sorts of cray-cray. But that would be one interesting poll, wouldn't it? Who wants Lars in and who wants him out? I mean, he was there on those classic records doing what he does. If you listen to all the records, he doesn't do anything different other than he was younger, faster, and maybe could work his double bass a bit better than what he's doing now. You know, he's laid off all the rolls and stuff he used to do, but for the most part, it's Lars Ulrich's sound with those guitars and Cliff Burton that makes those records so dang delicious. Am I right or wrong? Put it in the comments and tell me. Jolly Jake Lavelle coming in. I'd rather listen and watch a great singer than I would a giant clown using the word rock for the 19th time in a song. He's talking about Dee Snider. Because Dee Snider has probably said the word rock more than he has ever said anything in his entire life. Ask the wife. Hey, honey, you want to go for a rock? She's like, what? I meant walk. Sorry, dear. Mike Buchanan coming in. Pianos. Sorry, I let you down last week. Life got in the way and forgot about posting. Hey, nobody is obligated. Always remember this. Nobody is obligated. I appreciate it, and I like your input, but do not feel like, you're obligated, okay? Speaking of Saint Anger, there was a video out there where a guy remastered and fixed all the drums on the album. And not saying it's one of Metallica's best efforts, but after the work this guy did, the album was not that bad. Metallica has since had the video taken down. Really? Well, I can tell you this right now. If they've had it taken down, that poor fella got a strike. That's the only way you take him down. That's the way old Glenn Danzig does it, and that Kiss bastard. Yeah, if it was taken down, not available anymore, that poor guy got a strike on his channel. Too bad, I guess, that they got their feelings hurt. And yes, the Lou Reed album is 1,000 times worse. Does Dave Mustaine get along with anyone? ? Seems like he's got a beef with everybody. Hey, Dave, where's the beef? Kind of agree with D, sort of. I've seen plenty of singers who just stand there and don't interact with the audience. And I've seen those singers that interact with the crowd, those that do make seeing live shows that much better. Okay, I agree. Do you think that Bret Michaels has hair sewn into his bandanas? Something to talk about. I would love that. If he, like Gallagher used to have that old hat he would pull off and it had hair on it, that would be fantastic. If that was the case. Man, I'm dreaming about it now. I know nothing about Ozark, and hearkening back to the comment on how introducing kids to shows means that the show was soon to be ending, well, we're going to talk about Jason Bateman again. He was introduced to Little House on the Prairie, and within 3 seasons, the show ended. That's like a double black magic twist right there. Jason Bateman was the fella to ruin a show as a child. They said, by God, he ruined the hell out of, Little House on the Prairie. Let's get him over here at Sandy Duncan's house. Miss Althea, could you please tell me what that show was again? I forgot it already. And now your Jive Talkin jokes of the week. My wife said, I can think of 14 reasons to leave you, plus your obsession with tennis. I replied, that's 15, love. Oh! That was good. My wife said, you really have no sense of direction, do you? I said, where'd that come from? My daughter, if people listen to my podcast all the way to the end, they're probably waiting for the jokes of the week. I mean, I'm just being honest. My wife said, you really have no sense of direction. Where did that come from? My daughter asked me if I had seen The Dog Bowl. I said, no, I didn't even know he could. My wife left a note on the fridge saying, this isn't working, I'm leaving. What a lie. I opened the fridge door and it's working fine. Oh, yeah. And finally, what do you call sweaty boobs? Humidities. You just wanted me to say that. Humidities. Or just humid titties. And finally, okay, I'm sorry, I gave you a final before Mike Buchanan gave you the finally. My wife and I had the this long, pointless argument as to which vowel is the most important. I won, I think. I don't know what that means, and we are out of here. And here we go. Let's see what we can. Let's fly free. Let's fly free. Jive with me, I'll take you to ecstasy. We'll drive, we'll jive. Take your blouse off, we'll get inside your oh. Jive with me all night long. Hard rock and heavy metal news is my song. Jive with me, fancy free. We'll jive until the devil comes and takes our souls. Dave.